Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. This is going to be a pretty quick video. Obviously, we're going to talk about what happened with Bitcoin today, look at some charts on Bitcoin, the miners themselves as well. There wasn't really much news on the miners, so there's not much really to go over there. We will take a look at, obviously, how the miners have done in April as far as their growth compared to the Bitcoin network hash rate growth. We'll also take a look at like the performance of the miners and basically a year out or the past year, year to date as well, and then from the bottom, how have they performed as far as percentage gains and things like that. I think it's kind of interesting to take a look at compared to Bitcoin, and we'll call it a day. We'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. It'll be easy, but as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. My full disclosure is right there. You guys obviously can pause this video, read it all, but I would greatly appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with obviously the Bitcoin charts really quick, and then we'll get into some of the other charts that we have here as well on Bitcoin performance and miners and network hash rate and all that stuff. But here's the network hash rate right now. This is obviously on the 7-day, we're up a little bit here again. Today we're up to 587 exahash. The average on the 30-day is starting to kind of climb back up here a little bit. We're now at 603. We were down to 600 exahash. So we're now at 603 exahash. So that's continuing to go up. We're also seeing that the Bitcoin transaction fees per day are starting to kind of increase a little bit here. So I'm guessing we're probably what are we at? Probably tough to say right now. Maybe 20 BTC or something like that per day. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to take a look at it. It's pretty low right there. I wish they would fix this so I could see actually what the numbers are for, but it's increasing here a little bit on it. Then the network Bitcoin hash price index, has continued to go up, obviously, with Bitcoin price staying pretty elevated here. So that's obviously helping the miners out as well. And then we can see here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't do too well today, but we kind of expected it. At least I did expect this. We're going to have a pullback. Kind of had a feeling that we're going to have that. Because with this such a huge candle that we saw here just yesterday, it was likely that we're going to have a little bit of pullback. And it's, I think, a good thing, and I think it's healthy. So we were down a little bit here. We were down 1.81%. We were down 1,294 on it. We closed at 70,137, right? Not too bad of a day. We were much lower. I mean, we got to a low of, what was it, 69,146. Then we kind of bounced off of that, came back up here, and we finished out the day pretty well. Nonetheless, here we're up a little bit here in the new day. We're up 0.08%, not that bad. And we'll see where this goes. I heard that there were a bunch of inflows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, like over 300 some odd million. So tomorrow should be an interesting day when those start going through and get processed. So we'll see how Bitcoin responds at that time. But I'm guessing tomorrow's going to be probably a green day on Bitcoin. We'll see, right? Looking at the miners were kind of split here a little bit. We had some that were down, some that were up. Some notable ones here was obviously IREN being up 16% up today, while everybody else was kind of down on it on the day. Well, there were a couple of miners that were obviously in the green, but IREN outperformed everybody here, and it's had a nice run up here recently in the last couple of days. It is up quite tremendously. So if you're able to get it when they reported basically their ATM and their financial results, all that stuff, plus their growth going forward, I mean, you could be up already. What is that? I mean, to the top here was almost 70%, 68% from the bottom there. To here, you're at approximately 59, 60% or something like that. So a lot of gains here in the last, what is it, 5 trading days, 6 trading days? Yeah, 5 trading days, roughly on it. You know, this is fantastic news for them. I've been trying to buy into them, but the price continues to go up on me. It's like, oh, I'm going to have to probably, I don't want to chase it, but I may have to dollar cost average in a higher price. And if it continues going up like it is right now, I may have to think about maybe just taking a pause on IREN for a while until it maybe pulls back a little bit and maybe get into CORZ or something like that, which would be possibly my next bet to get into maybe. But that's kind of where I'm at right now with it all. So I'm kind of on the sidelines right now. We'll see where IREN obviously runs going forward and see if I can actually start adding some more position to it. I do have very little right now, so I'm going to get more. But man, this does hurt with it's running up. I wish I could have gotten it much lower here, but I have property taxes I need to pay, so I need to keep money back on the sidelines a little bit more, unfortunately. Okay, but that's enough about me. Looking at the other miners here, DMG was up pretty good here today as well, 5.66%. Then you had CORZ up being 3%, Cleanspark being up just 0.6%. Cypher was up 0.75%. Bitfarms was up 1.91%. And then we got Bit Digital up being 3.03% as well. And then ANY was down today, 22%, right? Correction from yesterday, which was kind of a little bit manipulated there, I think. That's obviously coming down here. And then others, who else was down pretty hard here? Mawson, same thing, was kind of down quite a bit, 9.52%. They had a nice rally yesterday as well, and then are pulling back today, correcting a little bit on that one. Okay, so that's the miners there. Let's take a look at the network hash rate comparison to the publicly traded Bitcoin miners for combined hash rate here. And hopefully you guys can see this pretty good here. But we're looking at April here, right? Network hash rate has continued to increase. It's basically 3x'd itself from May of 2022 all the way through, obviously, this year to April. We're at 623 where we ended it. And the miners have been also increasing quite nicely here. They basically, looks like maybe 4x'd in their hash rate growth here. But still, obviously, the network hash rate is outpacing what the miners are a little bit. But they ended up at 128 exahash combined here. And looking at the month-over-month difference, you can see that the network hash rate for Bitcoin increased 26 exahash, while the miners increased only 6.5 exahash on that. Okay, and you can see obviously the performance here over the past 24 months roughly. Going down here, you can see public Bitcoin miners percentage of Bitcoin network hash rate, right? That has been coming down here recently. They topped, it looks like it was in August of last year, at 22.9% of the network hash rate. And then they've been kind of falling down here ever since then to their bottom here recently, which was possibly in March at 20.4. Now they're at 28.6%, so that's kind of increasing here. And I think we might see more of an uptick going forward, especially as the miners install more and more of their network hash rate that they have plans to install. But we'll see how that progresses going forward. But that's kind of my expectation there. And then we got the month over month here percentage on the miners as far as what they increased here, 5.4% on it. And then we got the actual miners comparing to their previous numbers here. And I probably have to go down. Let me see if this will work. Yeah. Okay. So this looks at the miners. Let me see here. The yellow is the current month, right? So if the yellow overlaps the teal, which is the previous month, they actually increased their hash rate more than the network hash rate did. So we only have a couple miners that did that. We have Bitfarms, right? They installed a little bit more hash rate than network hash rate, and they're obviously a little bit higher there. We also have, that's their percentage here, the current month, what their percentages of the network hash rate. You got Cleanspark here increasing a little bit as well. They're at 2.78% of the network hash rate roughly. Then you got CORZ being up slightly also as well, 3.27%. Then you got Hive, 0.008%. And going down here, Hut obviously lost quite a bit there. Iris Energy increased tremendously, so they're at 1.51% network hash rate. Marathon increased quite a bit as well. They're up to 4.43% network hash rate, and everybody else is on the lower side of things, so they didn't increase with the network hash rate as well. Okay, so that's always interesting to take a look at to see how the miners are performing against the network hash rate, and in general, just what the trend line looks like over time. And with Bitcoin network hash rate, man, we're seeing that definitely kind of parabolic rise here, and I expect that to continue to happen going forward, especially as more efficient miners continue to get on the network hash rate going forward. Okay, so that's it for that one. Let's take a look at some other metrics that we do have here, some charts, and I probably will have to dial this down a little bit here for you guys to see. Let's see if we can pull it all in. Not that. Let's go to 100%. There we go. Okay, so here's the 12-month hash rate difference for the miners here. How much did they increase over the last 12 months? Marathon, obviously, you can see here leading the pack with 13.6 exahash. You got Cleanspark with 10.6 exahash, and then third spot would probably be CORZ here with almost 6 exahash being increased, followed by BitDeer. BitDeer obviously came public just within last year, so that's majority of their growth is based on that there. And you got year-over-year BTC mine difference. You can see here that let's see, Cleanspark actually mined more year over year, 197. So they're the top one there, followed by TeraWolf, 109. And then you got BitDeer, 55. Obviously, like I said, they came public as well. But the ones that have mined less year over year, the most is CORZ, followed by Riot as well. And then you got Mara that's up, Iris is up, Hot 8 is up as well. Cypher is down, so is Bitfarms and Hive as well on that one. And then if we look at the BTC mine over the last 12 months, you got Marathon with 12,191, and I think, yeah, 12,991, and then CORZ at 11,996. Excuse me, and I think this includes Mara's JVs as well. So that's what's included in there. Going down here, we also have here, then we would have Cleanspark at 7.7 thousand Bitcoin, roughly, and then followed by that, you got a bunch of miners that are in the 4,000, and you got Riot actually 5.6 thousand. So those are the top ones there. And then I wanted to take a look at where the miners are now year to date and where they are from their pretty much bottom at the end of 2022. I was on a Spaces today listening to some people talking about obviously that the miners don't perform as well as they have in the past, potentially in the previous cycles. against Bitcoin. So I kind of wanted to take a look at, is there any merit to that? And here's kind of what we have on it. So the ideal thing is obviously looking at where did they bottom out at and where are they at now. So this is the first one here, right? On the first one, we can see that obviously Cleanspark is up 772% from where it bottomed out basically at the end of December. I'm looking at this from basically January 3rd, which was the first trading day of the new year. They're up 772%, followed by Cypher up 590%, Marathon's up 523%, Iris is up 385%, BitDigital is up 326%, Bitfarms 321, and Bitcoin is up 321 as well at this time, right? So you can kind of see that there was at least 3 that have definitely outperformed Bitcoin here on that, and Cleanspark being the clear winner here so far. And then you got some miners that have underperformed, like TeraWolf was only up 218%, Riot 214, Hut 8 133, Hive 76, and then BitTier is actually down 42% from that time frame. So this kind of definitely clearly shows that the miners that are going to be growing tremendously, and those are obviously the ones that are kind of beating Bitcoin here, or at least tying Bitcoin, I would say. Those have obviously done pretty well, and obviously some have done really well compared to it, where they're up 2x of what Bitcoin is, right? And this was basically, we were from the bottom to, we had a little bull run in 2023. This is based on this. We were not even in the major bull run that we normally see after the halving cycles, which I expect those numbers to be even more dramatic, or more dramatic of a difference from where Bitcoin is actually, right? But if we look at from just this year alone, year to date, we see a different story here at this point. We can see that Bitcoin's up 58.84%, while pretty much everybody else has underperformed Bitcoin for the most part, by even a large margin here, where the only one that's kind of close to them is Cleanspark. Cleanspark is up 45%. Then you got Cypher down almost 15%, Marathon down 16%, Iris down 19%, TeraWolf down 27%, Hut 8 down 33, almost 34%, Riot 35, almost 36%, BitDeer down 43, Bitfarms down 44, Hive down 48, and Core, obviously CORZ switched over back to the ticker symbol after getting out of bankruptcy, so that's why that's not being included in here. But I think Core, if we included Core with their old ticker that they had while they were in bankruptcy, I think they'd be up like over 1,100% or something like that, right, at that point. Even with the reverse stock split and things that happened after the halving event, or after the bankruptcy, sorry, on that one. So I do believe that the miners still possess that multiple leverage play on Bitcoin, especially when we get into this bull run after the halving event, right? You can see here, basically the couple months prior to the halving event, the miners were getting beaten down, right? That's kind of what we expected to see. I actually expected this to happen a year prior to that, but we didn't see that. We had a lot more anticipation of Bitcoin spot ETFs that were driving the prices on the miners here a lot in 2023, which we obviously saw great gains there. And then after the new year, things obviously switched on us a little bit here, especially after January, once the spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved, and we saw the miners actually coming down because of the fears of obviously revenues being cut in half, right? But I think the thesis still holds up for Bitcoin miners to outperform going forward. And I expect that to be by at least a larger margin than what we're actually seeing here right now, right? We're still kind of in this in-between zone where it's just slightly profitable for the miners to be operating right now, right? Bitcoin price is still pretty good, but once we start getting to Bitcoin to 125,000, 150,000, maybe 200,000, 250,000, that's when we're definitely going to see a lot more of these miners that are doing really well do much better going forward on that side of things, okay? So that's it. Pretty sweet and easy on it. As always, my little sales pitch here for you guys. Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets. Those are available with a link down in the description. It's $8 a month. If you prepay for the full year, it's 10% off. And then there might be a couple spots open in the $5 and $4 range. And you get access to the private Discord server as well, which we have obviously lively communications or discussions there as well about the miners and options trading and different trading strategies and everything in between. Okay, so that is it. Let's get into our Q&A side of things and we'll call it a day. So nice, quick, easy video today. Always 15 seconds or so delayed on it, right? So give it a little time before I answer your questions, but I will answer all your guys' questions here coming up, obviously. So let's see what we got here. Okay, got a question here. Does CORZ debt concern you? It does concern me, obviously, but the big thing is if they can get the warrants, one of the warrants, I think, will pretty much clear out all their debt that they have. I think pretty much all their debt, like 300 million or something like that. Plus, they'll give them cash as well. So At that point, I think they're going to be in a much better place. But obviously, we need CORZ to get up to like $6 and then $8, something like that, for those warrants to be activated. So it's like a high risk, high reward potential with CORZ right now. But they are doing all the right things. I think they just need to obviously continue to grow as best they can. But that's basically it. And I don't see you guys have too many questions, so we'll probably make this an easy day. Waiting for a couple more maybe to come up here. Let me see if there's any other questions that I missed from you guys earlier. And no, it's a pretty light day today. We only have 54 viewers right now. And it might be just the topic at hand that we're talking here. Okay, we got one question popping in here. Let's see. Question: if you had 5,000 disposable income right now, which of the following would you put your money into? IREN, CORZ, Bitfarms, or Cleanspark? If I had to put it all into one right now, CORZ is more of a higher gamble, right? So I would have to kind of put that one off to the side for now. I do own obviously Cleanspark. I own Bitfarms as well, and IREN. I own a very little portion of that. So based on those things, based on where IREN has already ran a little bit quite nicely, right? They're valued at about $1 billion right now. I think that maybe Bitfarms is a little bit more undervalued currently. That one might have a little bit more growth or a little bit more upside potential, but that's if they can grow obviously their hash rate to where they're saying that they're going to go to by the end of the year. IREN obviously has also increased their hash rate growth to 30x by the end of the year, so they have actually surpassed Bitfarms on that part. So it's interesting. I would say probably between Bitfarms and IREN, right? But IREN, I would like to see at least a pullback, like I said earlier in the video. I've been trying to get into it, but it's just been running up the whole time, the last couple of days, and I don't like chasing stocks. So I was hoping a little bit of a pullback to get into it, but I haven't seen it yet. So that's the way I would kind of look at it. Let's see. Thoughts on the article about BlackRock and Coinbase settling off-chain, concerning or not? I haven't read the article, so I would have to take a look into it to see what's going on there and how are they settling off-chain. Would it be, I mean, maybe they're trying not to, well, if they're doing it off-chain, are they trying to settle it so the Bitcoin price doesn't move up, right? That would be concerning there, right? Because it's kind of like doing little backdoor deals so the market doesn't reflect the changes in Bitcoin being purchased and driving the price up. Which obviously BlackRock would like to do that because they don't want to have the price go up too much too fast. So that might be a little concerning there. Question: once Ethereum ETF gets approved this week, do you think that we will start the parabolic move with miners? Well, the miners don't mine Ethereum. I think there's only one miner or maybe two miners that hold a little bit of Ethereum for staking. I think that's BitDigital and possibly Hive as well. They might still have a little bit. I don't know if they sold all of theirs or not. Hive, that is. But they don't mine it, so it doesn't really matter there. I think if the ETF has an impact on the price of Ethereum, potentially, then it might also have an impact on Bitcoin as well. Obviously, that's bullish for the cycle. That would be bullish for the miners as well. So I think they would benefit off of that. Thank you so much. Excellent show, Sebastian. Thank you. Yeah, you're very welcome. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Question: realistically, with dilution, are these stocks breaking all-time highs if Bitcoin tops out at 150,000? Okay, 150,000, so that's basically 2x from here, right? If they do 2x, then we're looking at the miners to do maybe like, what would that be? Possibly like maybe 4 to 6x potentially. So if we look at the pricing on the miners here, Marathon's at what? 20 right now, 20 something, I believe. The 4x for them would be basically $80, right? So that would get them close to the previous all-time high. And if we do 6x, that would definitely get them above the all-time high potentially. Same thing for the other miners. I think that would kind of imply Riot would be at what? They're $11 something right now and change. 4x would be getting $40 some, $60 would be with 6x. So you can kind of do that kind of math and see where those things would actually end up that way. Let's see. Hi, Sebastian. Do you think Cleanspark can go to 80 in the cycle? Yes. My target is around $70, right? And that's very conservative on that part. If they can get to the 32 exahash this year, and if they can get to 50 exahash this year, that'd be even better. But I don't know if they can do that. If they can get to 50 exahash sometime early next year, and we're still in this bull cycle, yeah, I think they can definitely possibly get there, unless Bitcoin doesn't go to where we think it's going to go. Let's see. If Ethereum ETF is granted, do we think the miners will sell off again? I don't know, right? The miners aren't really tied to Ethereum. They're more tied to Bitcoin than anything else. So as long as there's a demand for Bitcoin, Bitcoin continues to go up. You might have a little bit sell the news on the ETFs being improved for Ethereum, like we saw with Bitcoin, right? That might happen. It might be a good day to actually buy back in a little bit. Sebastian, how well do you think Cypher will perform compared to IREN and Bitfarms at BTC peak? You haven't mentioned Cypher in quite some time when discussing the miners. Thanks. Yeah, I think obviously Cypher has good electrical costs, everything else, good operations. The only thing is a lot of their growth is not until like 2025, right? I think that's kind of holding the stock back right now. Based on that, you saw obviously IREN come out there getting the 30 exahash this year, and the stock took off even with an ATM, right? People are looking for growth, and unfortunately with Cypher, we're not seeing that. So I think because of that, they might underperform a little bit, but who knows, right? I'm thinking just by growth itself, you got basically Bitfarms getting 3x from where they are right now, 7 exahash to 21 exahash. You got IREN getting from 10 exahash to 30 exahash, which is another 3x for them. Right, so you have a lot more growth in those companies than you do have with like Cypher right now. Let's see here. Any concerns with Bitfarms lagging so much compared to the other miners? No, I've seen this before with other miners as well, especially when there's FUD around them. We have the CO FUD, we had the Paraguay FUD, we had the Canadian Texas FUD as well, right? So there's just been a lot of FUD around that. It's like I think once things start to clear up a little bit, and if they can actually provide good numbers for May, as far as hash rate growth is concerned in June, right, getting closer to their targets, I think maybe at that point the stock will possibly do maybe better. But those are the types of things I think are actually holding the stock back right now. Question, I've noticed everyone focuses on exahash growth, but doesn't comment on the major improvements in exahash per dollar as miners improve. Their network is likely to keep growing given this. Yeah, I mean, exahash per dollar. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin going up in value is going to obviously increase their revenues. Exahash growth, obviously with exahash growth, you're going to have more revenues. But network is likely to keep growing. Yeah, network is going to continue to grow, right? But depending on what pace it grows and where does Bitcoin go at. If the margins are still going to be really good, which I expect them to be, depending where Bitcoin ends up, you're still looking at maybe like 75, 80% margins on some of these miners potentially, depending where Bitcoin goes. Hut 8 and Bitfarms all-time high by December 24. I would have to look back what Hut 8's was all-time high along with Bitfarms on that one. But I would expect it depending where Bitcoin goes. It all depends where Bitcoin goes and how well they can grow. Hut 8, we're not seeing any growth with them, so I don't know if they can reach their new all-time high. Plus, they've been with the reverse split and the merger and everything else. We have just a little bit of a mess with them right now. So we'll have to see. What is the CORZ warrants? They have two warrants. One is at, I think, strike price $6 something. The other one is like $8 something. And that was part of them getting out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Those are look at video from Bryce McNally and Anthony. They did a video with Adam Sullivan there, the CEO, and he explains it really well. So just kind of look for that interview. I think it's, want to search for Adam Sullivan on their channel and you'll be able to find it. Why doesn't BitDigital share price move with the Ethereum proxy? I mean, they're staking it, right? So, I mean, obviously the price of Ethereum is going to moving up will obviously help the value of the Ethereum that they do hold, but it's not a lot, right? It's not like the amount that they have in Bitcoin or anything like that as far as value for that. So I think maybe that's why it's just not, it's maybe not widely known also, right? That they do have some Ethereum that they're holding and staking. Let's see. What will you move into after this crypto cycle? After this crypto cycle, probably, I don't know, I'm thinking about maybe real estate a little bit. Try to diversify a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll be sitting on cash for a little while, maybe, depending on the market. If we have a bear market either. That's one of the next things I want to kind of talk to you guys about, but I got to formulate how I want to present it. But can this cycle be different? It's already different from what we've seen. And what if we have an extended cycle this time around, right? Where Bitcoin just continues to go up, maybe not as parabolically, but it just for a continued duration of time where it does continue to go up, where we don't have that kind of bear market we saw before, 80%, 70% drawdowns, right? What if we only have a 15, 20% drawdown and it continues going up much higher, right? As Bitcoin, obviously, well, we'll get into another video, but we don't know about, I'm not certain about this cycle being done and over with yet. Question, seems like Bitfarms post about 12 exahash by June. I thought they did say 10 exahash by May. I don't see them mentioning about it. Yeah, I mean, we're waiting on the news, obviously. So we still have a couple more days in this month. So maybe they're installing, racking things, getting things energized, hopefully. And we'll get some good news from them by the end of the month here, or at least early. I mean, they're always like the first ones to report in June. They'll report for for May, like June 1st, they'll report that. They're always like the first ones to report. So we'll see where they get to, right? I'm willing to give them a little bit of a leeway here. If they don't get to 10 exahash, if they get to like 9 something, that'll still be pretty good, right? Let's see. What price would you consider buying into IREN again? My average price right now is $4 something, right? So I'm already up close to 100% on where I'm at with it, but I only have like a couple hundred shares in it. I started buying them back in November and December of last year, and I've been buying him recently as well. But let me see. Let me take a look at IREN right now. Right now, I'd like to get back in, possibly around like, take a look at this. So this is based on this. Probably if I could get back in, maybe at 6.96 or maybe around $7 if it drops back down a little bit, or like 6.17 if we have a little bit of a pullback here. It's getting a little frothy here on the RSI, on the daily. Would like to see a little bit come down, but we have seen it where the RSI was a high, stock traded sideways, went down a little bit here, and then continued to go back up higher. That's kind of what I'd like to see happen here, just for a healthy run up, right, on that one. Okay, let's see, what else do we have here? Question, do you think the Ethereum ETF will suck some air out of the miners? No, not really. I mean, people that are in Ethereum are already in Ethereum. People that are in miners are going to be miners, but there might be some trading, obviously, some swapping, things like that, but I don't think it's going to swap out the air. It'll depend more on Bitcoin than anything else. Let's see. Riot hit 70 from 20 in less than 3 weeks last cycle. Yeah, I mean, things can get really, really frothy really quick with the miners, especially where Bitcoin has nice parabolic runs. So, yeah, I mean, that's not out of the question here. Question, what are your thoughts on Wolf? So kind of the same thing with similar to Cypher. They have really good price on electricity. It's just their growth this year. It's more so on to next year, right? We'd like to see more growth this year, like we see with Cleanspark, Marathon, Riot, IREN, Bitfarms. Those types of growth would be nice to see. Bitfarms price prediction USD by 2024. I think that depends where Bitcoin goes, obviously. But you could easily get to $6, $8 per share, if not higher, right? Depending on how well they can actually build out, increase their hash rate. Where does Bitcoin go at that point? What is the CEO like, right? What does he go? What are his plans for 2025 as well? I think that's going to be important to find out. Let's see. Question, are you still buying Bitfarms? I am still, what a bargain. Yeah, I mean, still a bargain right now. But I have 20,000 shares of it. I'm happy with the allocation that I do have. That was my goal originally with Bitfarms, to get to that. I got to it. And then I wanted to obviously diversify a little bit more into IREN and buy more. But IREN's run up on me. So I got to wait a little bit more. Let's see. Hi, Sub, assuming BTC at 120,000 by the end of the year, where do you see Riot and Mara in this scenario? 120,000, so we're roughly 50... a 2x roughly on Bitcoin at that point. Like I said, so that you're looking at 4 to 6x on top of Marathon and Riot. So Mara between $80 and $120, Riot somewhere between what would that be, $40 and $60, maybe higher, depending on how well they can build out too. If they can build out their hash rate quick, that's going to obviously help. And can they improve their efficiencies there? That's going to be maybe even bigger multiple there for Riot as well. What are your thoughts on buying call options on the miners expiring end of 2025? I don't do options, so I'm not the guy to ask for that. I buy just the regular shares of the companies and hold on to them. DCN as best as I can right now. Let's see. Okay. I don't see any other questions coming up here. I think we'll call it a day. We've been going short one today, about half an hour, so that's not too bad. But yeah. We'll see where everything goes. I think we're still very early in this stage. Hopefully you guys were able to buy the miners at a much lower cost than where they are right now. And final question here is Bitcoin down? Is it down right now? It's down a little bit, it's down $144. Not that bad, right? So nothing to worry there. Okay, so we'll call it a day here, guys. We'll see what happens, obviously, tomorrow. I expect Bitcoin to possibly go up because of the inflows into the ETFs. It was over 300 some odd million. Might be a little higher than that. So at that point, Bitcoin should go up tomorrow, unless we have a lot of sellers at that point, which I don't expect. But that's kind of my expectation, at least right now. And if Bitcoin goes up, so should the miners. Okay, but that's it. We'll see what actually happens tomorrow. We can make guesses as best we can. But that is it. Thank you so much for coming in to watch the video. I hope you guys have a great night. I will see you guys tomorrow, and hope you have a great day.